When we talk about the geopolitical situation that we have in front of us, so the complete world is right now very fragile. Whether it is Russia-Ukraine war, whether it is US-Israel and Iran war, or it is the war that had started just few days back between Pakistan and Afghanistan, but already it has stopped right now. But at the same time, we are seeing that there are different regions where we are seeing that there is increased military activity that is in the picture. So again, when it comes to the geopolitical tensions that are there, right now the most important geopolitical tension over where all the eyes of the globe is the West Asia. But at the same time, there is another front that is opening. And this front is between Russia and NATO. So we'll be talking about Russia and NATO, what has happened in the past, and also why this is the new front that I am talking about, what all are the things that have happened recently. So recently what has happened was that there had been US-Iran conflict and even demands as well. The Washington, it had demanded that European naval assistance should be there so that it can break the Strait of Hormuz blockade. All right. At the same time, when the US President Mr. Trump or Donald Trump, he asked for this, the help from the NATO allies, so they denied it. There was European leaders, they refused their involvement in the Middle Eastern war, and over here, because of this, US has threatened to leave or abandon NATO. That is the collective security agreement that had been signed between the nations. All right, over here, the Russia is also, what it is doing is, it is aggressively exploiting the sudden political ambiguity that is across the European air. Over here, the Russia, it is testing the waters in the air as well as in the surface or at the surface and subsurface domain as well. So there had been a complete structural shift that we are seeing over here because of the fear that the US may leave NATO. So there had been a structural shift towards European NATO. That is a coalition of the European power that will initiate a blueprint for the autonomous defense architecture that is without US presence. Now, this is how Russia is testing the patience of these European nations. All right, what has happened is that there had been multi-domain stress test of the alliance that Russia had done. The first is that it has sent the subsurface deep water submarines which were there in the Atlantic region. All right, at the same time, in the airspace, there was a strategic bomber patrol as well that was over here. And also, there are the Shadow Fleet and the naval corvettes. They are flowing through the waters of the Baltic Sea. And ultimately, this is where the Russia is actually testing the European nations which are there. All right, and their powers, their patience, everything is being tested by Russia. So these are the current developments. The first one is the Russian nuclear-capable submarines. They are active in the North Atlantic. All right, and that has prompted the NATO jet scrambles as well. At the same time, US debate over the NATO involvement is where the, Donald Trump, he has called NATO as the paper tiger, and that has led to the Europeans for moving ahead with a plan B. Also, the Estonia and Finland, they have warned of the Russia's Shadow Fleet, the tankers which are circumventing the sanctions, and also the cyber attacks on the Sweden's infrastructure, and the increased espionage in the Nordic region is again something that has to be looked after. So this is a complete new theater of the global, you can say, action that we may see in the coming future. Now, this is where we have the Baltic Sea. All right, this is the Baltic Sea. These are the Baltic nations. Over here, we have Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And then we have Poland, we have Germany over here. Along with this, you can see that there is an enclave of Russia as well. That is Kaliningrad. All right. At the same time, over here, we have Gulf of Finland, which connects it to the sense of St. Petersburg. There we have Finland, Sweden, and Norway as well. All right. This is the Gulf of Finland, you can see, and an important port of Russia, that is St. Petersburg, is located here. All right, this is the Gulf of Finland. Now, when it comes to the escalation of these things that have happened in the region, in the Baltic Sea, what was there? What was the reason? So, over here, Russia have accused Finland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania that they are providing airspace for the Ukrainian drone strikes on the Russian oil ports, specifically on Ust-Luga and Primorsk. At the same time, Russian Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu and Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova, they have explicitly invoked the UN Article 51, that is the inherent right to self-defense. All right. And as identified by the Latvian Defense Ministry, the goal is to discredit the NATO and divide the society and test the Article 5 of the NATO, that the boundaries without crossing the threshold of the direct invasion. That is what Russia is doing over here. Now, when it comes to the geography, over here there are certain friction points that you have to remember. The first one is the GI-UK gap. All right, this is Greenland, Iceland, UK. This gap is the naval choke point for the Russian submarines which enters into the Atlantic Ocean. So this is GI-UK gap that you can see over here. We have Greenland, Iceland and UK. So this is the gap through which the Russian submarines, they enters into the Atlantic waters or into the northern Atlantic Ocean. There is also, with Sweden and Finland's accession, the Baltic Sea is encircled now by NATO. All right, and that isolates the Kaliningrad, that is the enclave of Russia that is or that opens towards the Baltic Sea. Also, Russia's northern fleet, it is strengthening the bases at Murmansk. It is testing the NATO's Article 5 threshold, and this is again very important because when it comes to Arctic, so Arctic holds about 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and also 30% of the natural gas. And there are fears that the Russia is basically moving ahead and it may start exploring the Arctic Ocean as well. Now, when it comes to the stealth and deterrence, so over here, what has happened is that the naval doctrine of Russia, it has shifted towards asymmetric naval warfare, and it is now focusing over on the deep sea. There are critical infrastructure, deep sea fiber lines or the fiber optic cables which connects. These are the optic cables which connects, or they are between Atlantic Ocean, in the bed of the Atlantic Ocean, and these are very important for the global internet supply. All right, so there are deep sea fiber optic cables and even pipelines which are there in the north of Atlantic Ocean. They are vulnerable to the GUGI. GUGI is basically the Russia's main directorate of the deep sea research, because over here Russia is researching in the deep sea region right now. There are submarines, the submarines which are Borai and Yasen M class submarines. When it comes to Borai, these are the ballistic missile capable nuclear submarines that Russia has. And when it comes to Yasen M, these are also nuclear submarine and they can launch hypersonic or cruise missiles as well. So again, these are the most powerful of the weapons when it comes to the Navy of Russia. So these advanced silent submarines, they are equipped with the Zircon hypersonic missiles. They are there in the North Atlantic Ocean. And it is very difficult because they have the stealth capabilities. So basically the NATO forces, they are not able to detect them. They can dive deep up to 4,000 meters as well. And that is the specialty of these submarines when it comes to the Russian naval force. And over here, Russia, because of this, the NATO have scrambled the P-8 Poseidon aircraft and also SOSUS, that is sound surveillance system upgrades as well. Now, when it comes to the internal fragmentation that has been seen because of the Donald Trump remark that was there because of the, the NATO forces that have not, they have not helped Donald Trump during the Strait of Hormuz crisis. Over here, Donald Trump have questioned the US nuclear umbrella, and also Trump's rhetoric creates a security vacuum and it has forced the Europe so that it will reevaluate the complete reliance on Washington or US for their complete security. We have seen that there had been surge in the defense budget when it comes to the European forces. They have started, after World War II, they have decreased their budget spending on the security or the defense. But now they have increased their defense budgets. All the countries, whether it is Germany, whether it is Italy, every country is now, they are focusing on the research in the defense segment. So there had been withdrawal threats that calls NATO a paper tiger. Ultimately, that had been done by Donald Trump. And also the defense spending targets, that is 2% of the GDP, that is becoming a source of the intra-alliance friction between NATO. Because these countries, they were provided with a kind of security that the US will take care of their security purpose. But now, US is pressurizing the NATO forces, especially the European forces, that they should rebuild and they should have a robust defense system that should be there, and US is asking them to increase their budget spending to 2% of the GDP over the defense. All right. Now, over here, there is a plan B that Europe is moving forward to. Europe mulls a European pillar within NATO itself or an independent EU defense force that they are planning forward to. Over here, there would be France's Force de Frappe, which could be used as an alternative deterrent, and even the Poland and the Baltics frontline state anxieties are very important, so that, this is the reason why Europe is looking for an alternative for NATO right now. Now, there are shadow fleets also which are there in the Baltic nation. When it comes to the shadow fleets, so Russia is using the aging tankers with the opaque ownership and flag of convenience so that it can bypass the G7 price caps which are there on the oil. Right now, there is lack of proper insurance as well as maintenance poses a massive oil spill threat in the sensitive Baltic ecosystem. There are lots of these ships which had been stranded over here in the Baltic region, and also they had been accompanied by the Russian warships as well. They had been stranded because of the threat that the Ukrainian drones that have over their passage. And when it comes to the UNCLOS, so United Nations Convention on Law of the Sea, that provides freedom of navigation, and over here the risk is that if any country tries to detain these tankers, they will risk direct military escalation with Russia itself, and that is why Baltic nations, they are not touching these fleets. All right. At the same time, over here, we have seen the new dimension of the warfare, that is hybrid warfare. This is the grey zone operations where we have seen that there had been actions which had been below the threshold of the open war. These countries, they are not in open war, but after or below this threshold of the open war, there are the steps which had been taken to destabilize the economy of the opponent or the other nation. And that is what hybrid warfare is. It uses cyber offensive where there had been attacks on the Swedish government portals and financial institutions by Russia. Also, there had been frequent interference with the commercial aviation over the Baltic and Poland, and also the use of research vessels to map the undersea energy and data links that the Russia is doing right now in the Northern Atlantic. So these are the new phases of the hybrid warfare that we have seen here. Now, what are the causes and the structural analysis? So when it comes to the Russian revisionism. So over here, Putin, he views the collapse of the USSR or the Soviet Russia as a geopolitical catastrophe. The goal that Putin has right now is to restore the cordon sanitaire or the buffer zone in the Eastern Europe. All right, we have seen whenever the NATO, it advanced towards the Eastern Europe. So what has happened? That Russia has retaliated, and that is the reason why Ukraine and Russia war started, because Ukraine wanted to be a part of NATO. So over here, what it requires or what Russia wants to do is it wants to create a buffer zone in the Eastern Europe. When it comes to the NATO, so there is a dilemma. All right, there is a dilemma about open door policy and the security paradox that the Europe has right now. Every eastward expansion, it increases the Russia's insecurity, and it will lead to the further militarization of the region as well. Now, there had been institutional failure as well. When it comes to the region or Russia and the European partners, so there had been organization for security and cooperation in Europe, all right, that have failed. It is the world's largest regional security organization that have the 57 participant nations, which are from Central Asia, they are from Europe as well, and from America as well, North America. So there are total 57 participating states, and there is an inefficiency that we have seen when it comes to OSCE, that is Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. As well as when it comes to the Founding Act on Mutual Relations. This was signed in 1997, where it was said that Russia will not see Europe as a kind of adversary. All right, and again, there was this was the first step to build a trust between Russia and the European partners, and again, this is getting failed. That is why we are seeing that there may be increased tension in the region. Now, this region is very important when it comes to the islands. Again, islands are very, very important over here. We have Åland Islands, which are there in Finland. Along with this, you can see Gotland Island. It is under Sweden, and also Bornholm Island, which is under Denmark. Now, there are certain reports as well where it was said that it may happen that Russia can capture either Gotland or Bornholm so that it can have a complete, passage, or it can have a check on the passage of the ships which are moving through the Baltic routes. All right. At the same time, when it comes to Kaliningrad, so you can see this is the enclave, and here we have Belarus. All right. So between them, there is a small passage that is there. It connects over here Poland to Lithuania, and this passage or corridor is called as Suwalki corridor. Again, important for your prelims. You may be asked about this in your prelims as well. Now, why this complete thing has an implication for India? So when it comes to the strategic autonomy, India maintains the special and privileged partnership with Russia. At the same time, we have ties with US as well. We have deepening defense ties which are there with the US. So we have to balance the relationship between both the nations. At the same time, there is S-400 system that we have taken from Russia. All right, it is very important for the air defense system of India. And also Sukhoi 30 parts, they come from Russia, and that make the complete break from Russia impossible. When it comes to the military of India, maximum of the hardware that we have today is from Russia. And Russia had been, you can say it had been a faithful partner to India right from the time immemorial. All right, it has helped India even during the 1971 war, where it had blocked the US fleet in the oceans. All right, at the same time, when it comes to the India's Indy-Arc station is there in the Arctic region. All right, at the same time, we have interest in the North Sea routes as well, because they will act as a backup to the Suez Canal route. And also, there are concerns that Russia is becoming a junior partner to China. If the Western pressure will increase, Russia will align more towards China. And again, that is not a situation that India will want, because China is an adversary to us. So therefore, it is very important to note that this complete news has an implication for India as well. Now, if you are preparing for the civil services, all the UPSC courses that are there on the Study IQ platform, they are now at 50% off. All right, you can use the code BRS Live, and by using this code, you can get these courses at 50%, and also you will get a chance for free mentorship by AIR88. All right, so this is very important if you are preparing for the civil services and want to appear in 2027 or in 2028. We have the batches for both of them. We have GS Foundation Resolution Batch P2I, and over here, again, I'm telling you, you are getting 50% discount just by using the code BRS Live. So that would be all in this session. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me over here. And please do not forget to like the session, share this session with your friends who are preparing for the civil services, and also subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any of the updates in the future. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care and Jai Hind.